DJ Calvin joins us today to talk more about his past DJ experience and how he handles couples and guests on the wedding day. Calvin, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
Doing well, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We wanted to do this video chat to give couples a sense of the DJ's personality, what they're like, and some of the most common questions. So first, I'd like to ask you, how long have you been DJing and what got you into DJing?
So I've been DJing 5 years now. It was actually completely by accident. I bought a controller just for fun. Just wanted to learn how to do it. I actually used to run a lot of half marathons. So I always find mixes, but sometimes the mixes just had too many down parts. So I basically bought a controller for myself to make mixes. Eventually, people knew I had a controller. They liked what I played. And I just started doing backyard barbecues, little parties, basement parties, small stuff, really low stakes. Had a friend approach me in December of 2021. He said, "Hey, you want to DJ my wife's and I wedding?" They had only 2 months to plan it, and they went real fast with it. I said, "No, I don't have any experience." They're like, "Hey, well, you have public speaking experience. You have training in that. You worked as a teacher. You're used to be in front of crowds. You know music. You'll do great." They told me what to do. I did it. People happened to love it. All I did was follow their instructions. But they also had really good music and a really good crowd, and it was very easy to deliver experience. However, I used all my experience that I've learned up to that point, as well as what people have taught me to deliver that. And then from there, they said, "Hey, man, why don't you take this a little bit further? It seems like you have a knack for it." And now here I am, going on 4 years later.
I love that. That sounds like a lot of our other DJs and many DJs as well. Just kind of happens by accident. We fall into it. Wedding seems scary at first, but we have a friend or family member ask us to come in. It goes great. And suddenly we're doing a lot more of them because all of these skills and experiences come together for this end result that the couple is hoping for, which is excellent. What are some of your favorite ways to either start off a dance floor or fill a dance floor if maybe it kind of went quiet for a little bit?
Yeah, so starting off, I always like to recommend the couples start slow. Depending on the demographics, usually you'll have a group of people, let's say they're 50 plus or 60 plusers, or people who are very shy about dancing, which is actually myself, believe it or not, as a DJ. And so I always say, recommend start slow, something slow, sweet, get people warmed up, get into it. If some couples are like, "Hey, let's just go real fast right off the bat." Okay, cool. But at some point, I'm going to get requests that people want slow songs. It's just bound to happen. So I always make that a point that it may slow down just because I'll get enough requests and then I'll move back up. Say if there's a lull, these things happen. The photographer will take a group of people for like sunset photos, or they'll take them out, or people will go to the photo booth. So you just have 30 people leave the dance floor for a while. So at that point, that's when I can slip in some slow songs or requests that people may have, or something that I usually don't play, change up the mood. But once I see a certain crowd coming back, or I start seeing them strolling back in, or a group of people start coming back in, throwing something like cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle, and then it brings the whole crowd back out, and then it kind of restarts everything. So sometimes these lulls, they happen. It's not something I can control all the time. However, it is by music choices, but sometimes people want photos. They want to go get drinks. They want a break. And so during that time, slow it down, pick it back up once I see that crowd coming back.
I love that, Calvin. It's a perfect way to find that balance where the people are going to leave the dance floor anyways. Let's throw in some of the songs that we're hoping for, some of the slow songs since we're in a lull. But we always kind of bring it back anyways. It's just kind of this ebb and flow of the evening that we kind of balance out with music. But I think you handled that the perfect way. Since we do a lot of weddings here, what role does a DJ play when it comes to working with other vendors and just the flow of the evening?
Yeah, like I've told other people, like or DJs, one thing I found out, and I'm not like I'm a super pro, right? I mean, I feel like I'm always up for improvement. Not a pro, but from what I've experienced, it's just not playing music. It's a lot of coordination and it's a lot of communication. Because if I'm doing something where I'm about to start something without the photographer or videographer knowing, then all of a sudden they lost that moment and they don't get the certain photos. And so I'm constantly talking with people, coordinating with people, especially if you have couples that have a lot of different requests. Do I care if they have a lot of requests? No, actually, it's kind of fun because it's like a big puzzle piece, right? The more things that they want, it's almost like the more things we got to solve. And it's actually kind of fun. It actually makes the night even go quicker than normal. But the thing is, it's always making sure everyone is on track, from the event coordinator, if they have an event planner, if they have a photographer, if they have a videographer, just anyone and everyone. You got to make sure they're always on the same page over and over again. So that's usually how I handle it. It's a lot of communication and a lot of double checking, triple checking, always asking over and over, ready to go, talking to the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, whoever's giving the toast, letting them know when they're about to speak, how they're about to speak, if they know how to speak, and then even sometimes coaching the people who are about to talk because they're nervous. So it's a lot. It's a coach and a DJ, coordinator, I mean, and a planner, and then it's an all-encompassing job is how I view it.
It really is, but I love the way you approach that situation. It's focused on the coordination and the communication because there's so many puzzle pieces coming together. And again, like you said, if a couple's requests happen to be more demanding versus the other, no problem. It's just how do we make these pieces fit so that the evening flows perfectly. So I love your approach to that. When it comes to like certain music styles or genres, do you have a specific style you specialize in or really like to play, or is it just a mix of all music top 200 wedding songs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I personally like dance music, house music, EDM. Now, 90% of the time, that is not what people want at weddings, at least for a majority of the time. So I know it's not about me. It's about the couple, as well as their requests, as well as their do not plays, and then their guests. So there's no real genre specifically. It always depends. Like I know it's such a generic answer, but it really does. But the thing is, if I grab onto something like Queen, and then people are receiving, for some reason, sometimes I'll play Bohemian Rhapsody at the wedding, it does not hit. But then it does hit at another wedding. Okay, now I know they like Queen. That group likes Bohemian Rhapsody. So stick within something like that. Kind of stick within more like rock and old school rock. And maybe play something like Led Zeppelin, which is something I usually don't play. But if someone likes Bohemian Rhapsody, they might like something like Led Zeppelin. But then if it's like more of a younger crowd, you could play some of the like Blink 182, Mr. Brightside, and then just all of your sometimes quote unquote generic songs, but they're always the best. Dancing Queen, Whitney Houston. And then when you move into like the hip hop, you get Low or Yeah, at Cupid Shuffle, Cha Cha Slide, The Wobble, and then slow it down at the end of the night. John Denver, Sweet Caroline, Journey, stuff like that. And so it all depends on like the time of the night, then the crowd, what they're responding to. So.
Absolutely. That's perfect because each wedding is a little bit different. Yes, there's some go-tos that we have, but each wedding, their music style and preference is going to change. So it's good to have that music knowledge, what's going to fit well with certain styles or genres of music. So that way you can keep that crowd entertained because those songs may not be played at another wedding, which is really important. You kind of answered this earlier about taking song requests. How do you like to handle song requests? I think for us, it's kind of like a cheat code for the dance floor. We can know what song they're hoping for and ready for, but there is some DJ discretion to make sure that we're playing the music that the bride and groom likes. What is your take on accepting song requests?
Well, unless I am specifically told by the couple themselves, no song requests, I'll always take song requests. Now, will I honor them? Not always. In fact, I would say 60% of the time, I don't play the song that's requested. Is that what it's, but what I do have, because first off, everyone wants to be heard. Okay. Like if they have a request, they want me to at least hear that they have the request. So have a notebook and a pen, write it down. I'll say, hey, I got a lot of requests from the bride and groom. I'll see if I can get this in. And so I have them write it down. And sometimes it's actually a good request, but I'm like, just write that down. I'm going to save it for later. And I really mean that. But I say, if I don't play it, just come remind me. There are ones where like, just write it down. We'll see. And chances are, if it's like Metallica, Enter the Sam, there's no reason to play Metallica. Like at some point, unless it is one of those, but if I'm in the middle of Usher, Metallica's not coming on next. I'm just sorry. But sometimes there is that one person or that group, I swear, like one in every 5 weddings, there's that one person who knows exactly what everyone likes. And they'll walk up to me and say, hey, can you play this? I'm like, that is a perfect song. I'll throw them out. And they'll come up multiple times, and every single time, it's always the best song to play next. And so I'll honor that. So I will listen. I never want to say, no, I'm not taking requests. Sorry. Like that's very bogus. I think it's really rude. And then people are kind of like, it leaves a bad taste. Even if it's like it's a guest or a family member, you don't know who they are. I want to treat everyone humanely and politely and kindly because they like that song, but it may not just fit with that group. But I will take it and at least put it on a paper because who knows? Maybe it will come up again. So that's how I approach that as well.
I I really like that because song requests can be a challenge. Like you said, guests can have great taste in music. Sometimes it's a great song, but maybe not great fit for the dance floor or for the wedding vibe or just the styles or genres that maybe the couple, their preferences were towards. So that's really important to make sure everyone feels included and make sure that the right songs play at the right time just to keep the entire energy of the floor going for the 100+ people versus just the one person who specifically wanted to hear Enter Sandman from Metallica. Great song, not good for the dance floor at the time. Have you
Exactly. And I've had that. That's why I said that.
now, with the past experience that you've had, have you done a few multicultural weddings? If so, what were those like, or something you did differently?
Yeah. So I've done Greek and Irish ones. Italian is pretty big in this Midwestern area. A lot of Latin's also very big. A lot of mixed, whereas Latin and white. That's another big one. Also, if it's like Asian and white, like specifically like Korean. So I've done those. What I do different, the Latin and the Caucasian, that can be tricky sometimes. However, I'm finding a better blend with that and how it works. And so really what it is giving both cultures that airtime. So, I mean, if it's really where it's totally separate, one is like super Caucasian, one is super Hispanic from the like old country. If I throw I'm a dancing queen, it's only going to appeal to one side. So I got to make sure it's like maybe 30, 45 minutes here, 30, 45 minutes there. But what I have found is that sometimes 90s musics or 2000s actually appeal to both, even if they are totally Hispanic. I found that even in central Mexico, I remember this from one wedding in particular, they really enjoy Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Beyonce. And I found that out the hard way. It was just like things were kind of like, it was really difficult. However, one of them put up on the phone and said Backstreet Boys. Apparently there was a TikTok of a bunch of Hispanic guys from Mexico dancing. It was like a fun thing and it got trendy. And so they put on Backstreet Boys. You see all these guys in their hats and their boots, gator boots, and they're dancing to Backstreet Boys. Never would have known that. The only one that stood out to me though was the Assyrian wedding and white. Assyrians, they kind of do their own thing. They actually have a sword that they dance around with. And it's like a big line dance that they can go for 30 to 45 minutes. However, at the venue, they can't carry a sword, so it was a candy cane. But the way that we did that was, it was the band for 45 minutes. It was me for 30 minutes, band for 45 minutes, me for 30 minutes, and the band ended. However, that was a little bit tougher, but we got through it. But the thing is, I said, hey, 30 minutes of American music, 2 sessions, you're done. That's literally all I did, and it worked. But it was mainly one of the most interesting ones I've done.
I love that. Multicultural weddings are such a cool experience to be a part of because, like you said, blending the two cultures together, we want to give them both airtime. Both families are coming together. They have separate songs they like, but ones that also bring them together. I found 90s and 2000s country music as well can also be very popular for Latin backgrounds as well, which is really cool. But just a fun part of the experience and things we get to experience as DJs. For all the wedding couples that are out there listening to this, what is something that you would like them to know about who you are, what you do, how you handle their special day? What's something you usually drive home as a point for them to know?
If you Google me for the company that I'm currently with, it's an Enchanted Evening in Rolling Meadows, Illinois. The one thing is, these are just reviews I've read on myself. Ask people to post this, but it was just basically the communication and follow-up that I've heard. Like the reviews seem to be consistently about that with me. It's just that I'm communicating and I reiterate things over and over. I'm talking about from ceremony songs. When do you want to start walking? What specific second? What specific time do you want me to end this song? And kind of going over the whole night in a way. So not that it's first off planned out, but also setting like driving home the example that I got it. I got the timing. I will take care of it. I don't want you to focus on your watch because most couples they don't want to do that. They just want to know what to do. And I like to tell couples you put a lot of time and effort and money and life into this one day. And there's anything I can do to make it absolutely perfect. That is literally what I strive for. It's just knowing that I can drive home the perfection. Now, is everything perfect? I mean, I don't know what perfect would be like, but there's a lot of times where there have been 0 errors in terms of songs on anything on my side. So I'm not saying that's perfect, but I try to be very good in delivering that experience, not because of me. It's because the couple has invested in a lot, their family's invested in a lot, and a lot has happened for them to get to that day. And I just want to deliver for them so they can go off on their life on a very positive path. That is literally what I try to do for each couple I interact with.
I love that. That is what it's all about, focusing on a couple, giving them that experience and delivering on that promise for them. What do most couples say about you at the end of the night or even a week or two after the wedding? What do they like to say about Calvin? Thanks for helping us out. What do they say about you?
I think, like I said, I gotta see the reviews, but basically what I hear is, "You were awesome. The music was great. You played what we wanted to play. You played what we wanted to hear. You played my mom's request that I know nobody liked, like Beer Barrel Polka or whatever. But it's like, that meant a lot to my mom and dad. You had a perfect anniversary song, the anniversary dance, like we asked. So it was already kind of like the floor was, there's only a few people, and then you brought it back up. It's just knowing that I honored their requests. So they asked for something and I did it. And it's like, we didn't want to hear this song and you didn't play it. We didn't want to hear Taylor Swift and you didn't play her. Or we wanted to hear Taylor Swift and you played her, and you played the three great songs of her. So it's just kind of like knowing that I honored what they said. I said I would do what I was going to do. They told me what to do. I will do that. End of story. And that's usually enough for the couple, is knowing that I did. And then sometimes, like they said, they have a lot of requests, 40 songs, like on the portals, like at least that I'm currently working with. There's about 40 songs. And they tell me all the time, I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to hit all these songs. They said, that's fine. But there are specific songs. I have them star it. Just make sure you get these. And I'm like, I will definitely do that for you. And then at the end of the night, it's thank you. You did everything we wanted you to. It went smooth. Thank you very much. I thank them. Sometimes I take a photo with them, have a little scrapbook. And then I wish them the best of luck. I ask if they need any help packing stuff up. If not, they're good to go. They leave, say thanks again, shake their hand, give them a hug, and then they're off.
I love it because at the end of the day, once the crowd has died down and everyone's cleaning up and packing up and ready to go, it's nice to hear that feedback that we were able to bring that party, play the songs that they wanted to hear, didn't play what they didn't want to hear, because that experience to them is something that sticks with them and their guests are going to remember as well. So, Calvin, we appreciate you coming on to share your experience with us and sharing that with our couples as well. So excited to have you on board. We appreciate it so much.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. And yeah, talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks so much.